Hey, good morning, folks. AJ the CEO here. We're getting ready to get on the road and head to East Washington Heights Baptist Church. Yeah, East Washington Heights Baptist Church. Pretty much they had a consultation, but they have a meeting coming up, so they wanted to see if I can squeeze them in a little bit earlier. And it is almost 7 a.m., and we had a 10 a.m. appointment to go do an on-site and see what we can do to help modernize the media ministry. So let's get on the road. Alrighty, folks, we are here now in Washington, D.C., and we're going to get inside to see what we can do to help out the ministry here with modernizing their media ministry. So let's get inside, and granted, we are a little bit early, but that's how we roll. So let's get in here and see what we can do to help.
Pastor in 2002.
All right.
And we came back about a year ago, so we just installed those two video monitors, and so now we're in a hybrid space. We have about 50 to 60 folk that'll be in person, but most of the people are online in Zoom. And so this issue is just overall with sound. The sound is just not right. How the speakers are configured, for example, that speaker there hits the wall, So and people can't hear. Even those people can't hear. And out here in the pulpit area, this is the pulpit here. Up in this area here. These things don't work, the monitors don't work. I can't really hear anything from here. And so that's the first issue that we want to do is and these don't work right. On Sunday we're having so much problems with our, it's frustrating because I'm ready to preach and ready to get in the word and tell them about Jesus, how he got up.
But nobody can hear you talk about it.
I have to have a handheld microphone sometime, and then it pops and doesn't work right. And then, so the first issue that we're having is just being able just to hear. So we want the church wants to invest in a new basic system in terms of microphones and speakers. Okay. And so we want a proposal to see what it would take so that we could hear.
Thanks.
Here we are. So the guy, this is our system right here. This system was installed in 2008 when we did the renovation. But again, these are the monitors. They don't seem to work. So we had this. He gave us this system right here.
Yeah, the A10 Mini Pro.
Yeah. And we do the computers, and so we feed to the. We put the stuff on the screen, the PowerPoint, and then we try to feed the Zoom. But the sound don't sound right on the Zoom. Not only does the sound not sound right, it's just feedback. It's just a mess. That's how I would describe our system. A mess.
Understood.
But there's also an issue with the drums being too loud, especially for the older members. And so we want to see how we can, what we can do. Is it a drum shield? How can we control the loudness from the drums?
Okay.
So that could be a part of the proposal. Perhaps do a drum shield or do something to mitigate the loud noise. Because it took me a long time to revamp our music program. Now we got musicians who want to worship. But the issue is that when they do the worship, sometimes the decibel level is so loud. The drums are so loud. The young people love it. They up, they're praising God. But the older people, last Sunday, Pastor, that music was just too loud. It was too loud, too loud, too loud. So I'm like, okay, I go to other churches that have invested, and I see that they have their instruments. It's all,
like an isolation booth.
Yes, it's all controlled. Whereas we just we're techno babbling.
All right, folks, so y'all know how we do here. Talking Pastor Given, he was telling me about what he's looking for. So for me mainly, but hopefully for you as well too, we're going to do a walkthrough so that I know when I get in front of my computer to design this whole layout. So let me turn you around real quick. All right, so the very first thing what we're going to do is we're going to replace the soundboard. Y'all know I like the X32 because that's what I'm using. So we're going to replace the X32 to give us a little bit more control of our sound. And then we're also going to look at replacing the speakers. Now, I am not a fan of CSAA ministry, but we'll do it if we have to. But preferably, what I'm thinking about doing is maybe leveraging these two speakers already for anybody sitting in the balcony. But the main thing is to change out the speakers that are on the pulpit, get some better floor monitors for when pastor's preaching or anybody's up there, and then maybe some ones on the wall for the choir, and then maybe even invest in having some in-ears for the musicians so that they can, like y'all know me as a musician, they can blow their eardrums out if they want to, but it's not going to affect anybody else in the house. Also looking at maybe replacing the speakers that are right here as well as the ones in the front. We might use those environmental since we don't really need to get in the lift unless the tweeters and subs and stuff like that are busted in there. But we're thinking about putting some other speakers on the wall that would give us a better sound for the congregation, leverage some audience mics, and then preferably probably move away from the Panasonics here and go with 3 PTZs, one here in the entrance, one on the side, or maybe 2 on the side, one in the back, and really completely change over their audio system based off of what they're recommending. Now, the other thing I'm sitting back thinking, and I'm gonna put Pastor here on the camera here when I'm asking them this. Now, based off of what you have in here, is there ever any future thought of having whatever is being fed here in the sanctuary go to any overflows or anything else?
Yes.
Is that already established or it isn't?
It's not established, but we also want that what's here to be able to be broadcast downstairs in our fellowship hall. There's also a need, they wanted to have a monitor up here. The people up here want a monitor to see, and the need for monitors, video monitors in the pulpit area as well.
Okay, so most likely a stage display, kind of like what we did at Greater Works. So we'll put like maybe either a smaller monitor that's facing up from the floor for the choir, maybe a TV on the back. We'll give multiple options on what we'll do for that, but that's good. So pretty, sir.
You want to walk down to the hall?
I'm sure.
Yeah. So that's the speaker right there.
Yeah, we'll replace that.
Get back to
All right. So nothing existing right now. So did you have a preference on what part of the wall you would want it to be on, or? Okay. Now, what else is this spot? Just mainly just for fellowship? Is any? So nothing, no other activities?
Sometimes we have service down there.
All right, so here down in the fellowship hall area, what we're gonna do is run a TV, maybe 65, maybe 70. I'm thinking 65 would be good, but again, 70 will work. And we want to be able to have a feed come down here. I do see speakers here. So, depend. Okay.
We have a school and the kids do everything. This is what currently have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Classic board. Yep. So what we need to do, since there's a system here, what we can do is either leverage that system or repurpose the system from upstairs that we're replacing. And the idea is, we've done it before, where we'll feed the audio here and leverage the speakers. We got to do some timing to make sure that the audio isn't coming faster than the video. Now what we've done before is we'll send the video here downstairs and split it off of the signal instead of it being directly to the sound. That can work as well. We'll test that out. But they do have speakers, so we don't have to worry about that. The main thing is to make sure there is no latency between the audio and video, and we'll take care of that. So I mean, in here, technically, you could do the same thing. Run a cable here, and maybe put a 40-inch screen TV so they can see and hear everything here.
Perfect. Some kind of way, I think we had a speaker. It used to be wide where you could hear and hear from the sanctuary.
Okay.
We had it. I don't know how that happened, but the sanctuary seats 500 people, and at times we had large funerals, and this was the overflow. People could hear from here as well, the feed from the sanctuary. I was telling you before about that's Manny Chapel. That's where we are now. But this was the second church built in 1931.
Okay.
That was the first church. It was on the parking lot, and before that was there, it was just farmland.
Oh wow.
Way back in the day. And this is the oldest church in this part of DC.
Okay.
The Capitol faces eastward. We're only 3 miles east of the Capitol, and we're at the second highest point in the city. But the reason why this didn't develop is because it was all It was forts. It's like Fort Circle, Fort Foote, Fort. It was all forts because of the Civil War. And so that fellow there, he was the postmaster for Anacostia. His name was David Fountain. He was the postmaster of Anacostia. He also was a Union soldier, and he had a farm up here, and he had a Sunday school in his house, and he said he wanted to make a church.
Oh wow.
So he decided to create this church, East Washington Heights Baptist Church. It was all white, in the 1900s, the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, 1950s. Then in 1964, it began to integrate, and I'm actually the first black pastor of the church. 2002 when I became pastor here. I'm impressed, man.
Awesome. Now, for the folks that didn't know, at A Street Baptist Church, where I grew up at, my dad got one of these, and I used to always play on one of these. It's actually a pump organ. So Dominic, all my other organ players out there, have you ever played on one of these? Boy, your leg would get a workout trying to pump the sound into this. Alrighty, folks. Great conversating with Pastor here, and then we're getting ready to get on the road, and then we're going to get back in front of the computer. We're going to design this. It's going to be a 3-phase approach. I'm not going to include phase 3. That's the original chapel that they showed me, but it's mainly just going to consist of sending a feed, over to that area. But anyway, let's get over to the computer, and then we're going to design this for the ministry here. Alrighty, folks, we are back, and I am really excited about this. Now, this is going to be probably to date outside of Signs and Wonders. This is probably going to be the biggest project just from a scale size, because what's going to be detailed and what's going on. Because Good Shepherd was kind of the same thing, but we're doing their sound, their speakers, their live stream, and the infrastructure and everything. You know my statement. We're going to be building the foundation for a skyscraper, even though we're only going to be putting a hut on it. So let's go ahead. I will do the entire thing, but then I will show what's going to be split into a phase. All right. So let's cut over to the computer. All righty. So let's get started here. And for East Washington Heights, I'm just going to do the whole thing. We'll do it like that. And most of the time, like I say, after this is when I normally send this to them, so that they use this as a reference, all right? So we're going to let me put this in place. So there were certain questions that I asked that in different areas there are speakers, but we're going to be redoing a lot of that stuff. The only place where I feel that we're going to maintain the speaker is going to be in the fellowship hall. Everywhere else, they have older speakers. We're going to get rid of all of those, and we're going to put TVs in all those locations, all right? So I need to look back at the video myself to count how many they are. So I was getting ready to think about what I'm going to do. Let me actually do that again. So we got, and those icons are too big. Let me use these. That's about the same size, so that didn't help. All right, so in the ceiling right now, in the sanctuary, there are a total of 6 speakers. Let's stretch these out. There are ones on the pulpit. There are another 2 in the ceiling, in the front, and then another 2 of the exact same speakers in the back. Now, they are not happy with those. So what we're going to do is, because those ceilings look like they're 30 to 35 feet up in the air, I am not excited about trying to get up in there with a lift or anything like that, that's going to add significantly to the price. We're talking about pulling the pews up out of the way, or get a scaffold or legs to get, that's too much. So what I'm thinking about doing is maintaining those speakers, but those speakers are going to be changed into an environmental. So the main thing is these speakers here. Let's change those colors to, I don't know, gray. Those are going to stay. The ones that are on the pulpit, they're not happy with. Those are going to be replaced, and we're actually going to double those up. So these are going to be the pulpit monitors. And then we're going to add choir choir speakers just for them. So that'll be choir left. This is me looking from the balcony, and then choir right. They also, let's move this down a little bit. And we're also going to add some subwoofers as well too, to these, to give a little bit more bass for this. We'll do 2 on either side of the sanctuary. Let's actually put these up here. All right. So we're going to be redoing that. And then that's going to be the base. Now, y'all already know what I'm going to pick. I am going to use the X32 compact for that. And we are going to add a snake for this, because they did have some cables ran. I could probably just connect directly to them, but I want to have some growth, because the channel mixer that they have, if I can recall what they have, I think it was only a 24 channel. Off the top of my head, it was a Yamaha, I believe, and I could be misspoken. If I do, I'll put the comment of exactly what it is. But we're going to do that. And these speakers, the brand new ones, we're going to have those connected to our snake, so that we don't have to run anything. The only thing we're going to run is a shielded Ethercon cable, or a shielded Cat 6 or Cat 5e cable to bridge in between the board and the snake. Did I spell it right? All right. So that is going to be connected over Ethernet. You know, we use green for that. And then all of our speakers are going to be connected here. And again, and most likely, you never know, we might add an amp to those. It all depends. If we do an amp, they're going to go to the amp. We'll make sure we have separate channels for the different ones, so we can separate what is going where. So this is going to be a mixed bus here. Let's actually change those colors here. So that's going to be a mixed bus for the choir, so we can separate them. And I actually messed up. I need another set of speakers, because those are just the pulpit monitors. We actually need speakers for the sanctuary to replace the ones that are in the ceiling. All right, so let's scoot this over a little bit more. And this is what's going to be paired with that. So this is going to be sanctuary left, sanctuary right. All right. So, and then all of these are going to be connected. Most likely, I will have these bridged into that. I don't have a particular brand right now on the top of my head, but we'll work on that. And what color are we going to place this? Let's make these gray. You can't tell by that color. Orange? Yeah, let's do orange. All right. And most likely the subs, I may be able to connect them directly here, or we'll just connect them directly to our to the snake. Not a big deal. Now, the other thing that Pastor was talking about is a concern for our sound. So with that, we're going to introduce some in-ears as well too. And let me go back to here, because I believe these speakers are connected directly here, because I mean we want to avoid having to go up in the ceiling because that's going to add cost, like I said, with a lift, and I don't think we need to do that. If we do, I will let y'all know. I want to actually avoid doing that. All right, so let's connect that here. All right, those are our existing. Now, the other thing, they want to change out their mics because they're having problems with them. So what I'm going to do, and you never know, Brandon, I might be giving you a shout out and contacting you, but we're going to add at least 8 wireless mics for the choir. We're going to change out their hanging mics because they said they had some issues with those. Do we have a better icon? I don't like those. But oh well, I use this icon for my microphone here. So this is going to be our, and I got to make sure I keep count of this because that snake may be a 32 channel and not a 16. And with that case, we might go to the full size X32. You never know. Hanging mic left. Mic right. All right. And then we'll add 2 other ones because there were some jacks for like the podium mics. So that would be, let's line it up right here because I like to have my stuff symmetrical or whatever. All right. And oh, my stuff is off anyway. Anyway, so that would be podium left, podium right. All right. So I believe there are already jacks for that. So if all of these are in place, I'm still going to maintain and use the connections that were already ran because those are still good. It's just that all this new stuff that there are no jacks, that's what's going to be connected to the snake. So you never know, a 16 port may be able to get away with it. So I believe these already have connections that were already in the floor of the pulpit. So we're going to leverage those. Let's pull those out here. All right. And then I think there's one more for the pulpit. So we'll do that pulpit mic. And again, worst case scenario, that can be changed out. So we got these connections are going back, and I should have changed these colors so it makes it easy for me to count these. So let's change this from orange for the ones that are connected to the snake. We would do that in a rich purple. All right, so that way we can count. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. 8 right there. And the hanging mics are most likely already going back already because they were in the ceiling. So those would be orange because these are already existing connections that we're not going to replace unless we have to. All right. So there we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 connections going back here. So that's 8 channels going to our board. And then we don't have to worry about that. I mean, we kind of do. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 8 going here. All right. Now, let's go ahead and we're going to mic the drums. And we're going to also do a shield for the drums to protect them as well, too. So that's going to give us at least 8 more, not 8, but 7 more mics for our drums. So see, I'm already running out of space. All right, so this is going to be 7x drum mics. So again, we got to maintain the count of what we're doing here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8. So that we're short. So this is going to have to be a 32 channel snake right there. All right. Do 32 channels or 2 16s, depending on whichever one is available. All right. We also have our, we're going to do extra anyway. So this is for our musicians. So we'll say um, keyboard, piano, and we got organ. I'm going to say bass. And then I will have an extra just in case. All right, so we're already at 8, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, so we got all of our inputs there. And I picked the wrong color. We're supposed to have this deep purple. And I'll just leave that because you see all those connections. Now, that's going to handle that. And what we're going to do with the musicians, instead of having to worry about speakers, because the main thing is they want to control the sound. So we're going to do our personal mixers here for our musicians. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Might as well go with 6 just to be safe. So we'll say the P16. And that'll be 6 of those. Actually, I should have just did like this so that way I can have a count. So that's 1, 2, all right. So that's going to be connected with its power play. All right, so that will connect to all of these. That's going to be over Ethernet, so we should be good. And I guess I should have taken this all the way through to make it simulate as if I had it all connected here. And range, let's bring those to the front. All right. So all of those are connected so we can see them. Yay. Why are you messing up my stuff? There we go. All right, and then that's going to be connected to the snake over Ethernet as well. All right. That's how all the musicians are going to be able to hear. They can blast the music to their heart's content. Yay. And we're going to have the drums shielded and then try and get all the speakers up and out of the way so that they can hear everything. So from a sound standpoint, we should be good. Now, the other thing I did not include was our wireless mics. I'm going to let those sit here in the back because I want to be able to control everything, have them be able to control everything from the media, not going downstairs and flip this on and this and this. The most they're going to have to do, well, actually, I can put that in a rack with the snake, and then I'll just have the mics there. So we're going to put two sets of 4 wireless mics. That's 4. Let's shrink this a little bit because this is going to be rack mounted. So it'll be 2 of them. Let's make sure we get our counts right, because if not, we're going to have to redo a lot of this stuff here. Color right there. All right, so let's do our counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 24, 28. We still got 4 channels left, so we're good from right here. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just making sure I get my count. All right, so yeah, so we're good. So that's 28 channels that are going to exist down there. And actually, I'm sorry, I messed up my counting. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 8. That's 8 outputs. I should have changed the arrows here. And we're only going to use 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16, 20. Yeah, so that's only 20 outputs. We're still going to use 32, so that still gives us 12 more input channels. But then we're using 8 outputs for our speakers, which will still, on that board, will still give us another, on that snake, still gives us another 8 channels out. So we can always add more speakers if we need to. So that's good. All right. Now that's our sound standpoint. All right. Now what we're going to do, we're going to pair that with a X32, not X32, an A10 Mini Extreme. They're already using the A10 Mini Pro, so we're just going to expand what they got right now. So that's going to be an A10 Mini Extreme. And I'm going to see about getting them a computer. We're going to build them a system, but they already have a laptop, so we could just implement what they already got. But again, they asked, and I like to give this estimate, and they can always cut what they don't want. All right. So we're going to send I should have put this closer here. We're going to send our audio over USB. That is my preferred method now that I know how to wire that. So that's going to send audio so we can have it in the house. And this is actually going to be the full size X32. Well, let me stick with the compact pack for right now. And I might change that if I got my counts right, because that's 48 channels. That's 32 with another 16. Yeah, so we can still do the compact with that. All right, so we're going to send our audio in there. And then we're going to send the audio out from the X32 like we normally do over a 3.5 millimeter from the X32 so we can get sound. So what cable is that going to be? Let's use the dull red. That's kind of a little too close to tell. Let me change it to, this sky blue. We'll do that. Now, the other thing that they're using the Panasonic cameras, which are fine, but they want to move. So we're going to put some, and actually, this is actually going to be the ATEM SDI Extreme. That's what I'm going to use this instead. All right, so with this custom system, we're going to add a mini monitor into this system, which will allow us to connect this system over SDI. And they're using PowerPoint. So I'm going to give them an option and show them how that will save them from having to type up everything. Presentation PC. And then we're going to add some PTZs. We're going to probably go with 4 for right now. So let's shrink this just a little bit. So we're going to put one in the back. Run out of space. One on the side. Another on the side. So we're going to have to get involved in some CSAA ministry. Hello. Uh-huh. Yep. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm designing their system right now. All right. Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Bye. Interruption. Actually, my sister actually knows one of the deacons at this church. All right, so we got that, and then we got one more camera that's going to be in the front. Now, what I'm thinking is the front and the back will be, from that distance, I think we can still get away with 20x PTZs. So I'm going to see if I can reach out to some contacts for that, but that would be our front PTZ. Left PTZ, right PTZ, and back PTZ. Now, you never know. You know what? I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm trying to think. If with this, to have the independent outputs, would this be a good move to actually... I was thinking about going with the Constellation, the newer one, but they're used to the Pro, so I'm going to stick with that, so never mind. So the fact that we got these outputs, these are going to be SDI connections. directly here so that we don't have to worry about any converters on the cameras. So that should work good for us. And this will allow us to have separate outputs as well too, because I know the pastor was talking about he wanted to have a monitor so that they can see, which tells me that if they want to monitor in the media room to be able to see what's going on, they're most likely using the ATEM Mini Pro as a full screen output so that they don't have a multi-view. So we're going to make sure we get that taken care of so they can see what's going on. And let's run this cable all the way over here. And let's bring this to the front. Bring this to the front so you can see what's going on. All right. Let's bump this cable up a little bit. I'm out of the way. All right. So we got our 4 cameras. This is going to allow us to bring this here. And you never know. I might go with 2 mini monitors. That way we'll have 2 monitors for the screen so they can see what's going on, but the mini monitors are going to drive the output. I'm going to recommend they go with Pro Presenter so that they can leverage this. So this will give them a stage display as well. And let me move this down here. And my arrows are going to get in the way. So let me bump this up here. I hate it when it looks like this. So let's label this as a stage display because they specifically said they wanted that. This is not going to be a TV that's in the back. This is actually going to be maybe some 43s or maybe some 50s that are going to sit up on the pulpit or maybe on the floor in the front row. So when the choir can look down and see it, I'm thinking maybe the pulpit, so it's not that far away. So maybe some 43s will work. So this will be for the audience output. All right. So there we go. And then we can still leverage maybe a 5600G, 5700G that will give us 2 outputs for here so that you have the main screen and another screen. So maybe the ATEM software or live streaming or whatever is right there. All right. So we got that. Now this gives us 2 extra SDI outputs. All right. Because the ATEM, actually I got it right here. So on the SDI output, we have 4 outputs right here. So we're going to leverage one of these to be the multi-view, which I need to put a list on, and we have 3 different outputs. So again, we could send, if we wanted to, we can use one of these to leverage our stage display, but I'm not going to do that. But one of these can go out to the TVs that they already have, convert. I need to find what type of cabling they had, which, I'm assuming it was HDMI, because it looked like they had a couple of things for that. But then we have 2 other displays that we can independently output. So if we want to still in the sanctuary, still only do the presentation, what we would do is just change one of these outputs to be the presentation software only. And that will go only to the TVs, but then the other outputs can feed the other parts of the building. All right, so that would be a good, we'll work with that. All right, so we got that. Now, I saw that they have an ATEM streaming bridge. So I'm going to utilize that to do 2 things. I'm actually going to get another one. So they already have a streaming bridge 1. And then this is streaming bridge 2. This is more for our future stuff, all right? So we're going to connect this to our ATEM SDI. And what we're going to allow this to do is leverage their network inside the church to bridge to the different areas in the church that we don't want to run cables to. So they wanted to be able to send video to the sanctuary. So if we wanted to, we could. Got to think how we'll do this. Got to think about that. I might have to revisit that. I need to see, will the web presenter, because I'm trying to avoid adding that, but I'm wondering how we're going to feed that into the, I mean, I got a couple of paths of how we can do that. If I don't have a streaming bridge on me because I sold it, but if I can have the web presenter stream to the streaming bridge, I would add that, and that would handle the distribution in the other far areas of the church so that I don't have to run another cable. That would make that easy. But then at any point in time, that streaming bridge could be reversed and say that we have streaming bridge number 2 in the fellowship hall, and they wanted that to be able to be repurposed. We could use that in reverse and stream it back so that anybody can see it upstairs. That's what I'm just thinking. But I think this is what we got here. And I forgot the monitor. I told myself a couple of times. So let's have our monitor here. Why is that so small? All right, so this would be, and I'm really running out of space. I'll do it right here. So this is for our multi-view. So we're going to need to do a converter on this and convert it over to HDMI and all that other fun stuff. And it's not having fun with me today. Let's get rid of that. All right, so that's our multi-view. Now that is going to be SDI out 1. And we're going to use their distribution. We're going to do a 1x8 SDI that I believe will work, because there's already some type of output that's going. So I don't know if that's fiber HDMI, SDI, I don't know. All right, so again, just realize, even though my plan is to use SDI, that may change. If they already have HDMI, my plan was to use the SDI version of the ATEM. If they already have HDMI running in the ceiling, I'm not going to replace that if it's working fine, and I'll switch this over to an ATEM Mini Extreme instead of going that way. So I'm just going the SDI route, but that can easily change. So you see an SDI splitter, that can be converted over to HDMI. Same concept. It just depends on what type of cabling we're going to use. So that'll be an SDI splitter. And we got some TVs here. So this is going to be SDI out number 2. And they already had TVs. So I need to find the space to put this, because that's in the front, right? And this is probably one of the biggest draw IO drawings that I've done. All right, so TV left, well, I should say sanctuary TV left, sanctuary TV right. All right, so I don't know what type of cable that is. I'm just going to assume it's SDI. Let's just hope that's what it is. It most likely isn't, but hey, I'm trying to assume it's gonna work. You know the answer for assumption, right? All right, so let's run this down here as well. There's a SDI splitter, and again, I might not be doing. Well, no, I am, because that's the SDI out. That's gonna go directly to those TVs. That's fine. Now, this is probably just going to be a 1x2. And then we're going to do another. So let's do this. This is audience 1x2. So that's what's going to go to the TVs, the main TVs that are already there. I'll do this as a 1x4, which is actually going to be stage display 1x4. Just for future. And this is going to come from SDI out. Man, I am seriously running out of space. So that'll be SDI out 3. Why is that all the way over there? All right. So this is going to be this is what's going to drive our other monitors. So we're going to get some smaller TVs that are going to be for the stage display for the choir. And man, I'm running out of space. So I try to put these proportionally where they're going to go. So please forgive me for this one. I just want to put this closer because I am seriously running out of space. So this is stage display left. Stage display right. And then we have some room to grow. And again, we could easily switch out this 1x2 for something as well if they ever wanted to add anything else. You just switch them out, boom, there you go. So that will handle this. And then we have one more output that will be for everywhere else in the building. Now, this is where I might leverage our streaming bridge if it works in that direction. If not, hey, we just got to handle it. So I'll do one more SDI splitter, and this will be a 1x8 for everywhere else. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to run SDI everywhere because that's going to get really expensive when you're adding a converter for every single TV. I don't want to do that. If they decide to go in that direction, I will. But what I'm thinking about doing is just getting a generic old SDI to HDMI converter. And then these are in the other parts of the building. So, like, for example, in our entrance, this is where we're going to replace the TV. So this is in the sanctuary entrance. We're going to put a TV in there so that the ushers can hear and see what's going on. So, you know what? I'm trying to think. Because we have a HDMI to SDI here. And that's not going to work. I need the reverse of this. I think I have one. All right, so instead of me trying to find one, let's actually just look it up because I need to check out something. I just don't recall it on the top of my head. So we're going to look for a SDI to HDMI. And I think I kind of answered my own question here. So, like in this one. So you see right here, this is it is a HDMI to SDI. So it's HDMI in, but it gives us 2 SDI outs. The difference with this, when we look at this one, so there's an SDI loop out, but it's only 1 HDMI out. So I'm trying to think. I don't want it to be overly complicated. So what I think I'm going to do now that I see it, we're going to just go kind of like with my gut originally. And as much as I didn't want to do this, I think ultimately when we start adding, because of the amount of SDI cable we're going to be doing, I think we will break even on what we're going to do. So this is going to be a 1x8 SDI splitter, not a plitter, splitter. And this will be SDI out number 4. And this is what's going to drive the connection for all the other TVs that we need. And when we get to different parts of the building, we'll probably do another splitter and then convert it over to HDMI so that it's a HDMI run to the TVs so that we don't have to do a splitter everywhere. This will probably be the only place, this one TV here will probably be the first one that we do SDI to HDMI converter. But because we're so much farther away from the sanctuary and we're sending sound, we should not have to do this everywhere else. All right, so we're going to do a SDI to HDMI converter. So that will be our connection here. Come on now. Change that to blue. This is going to be our SDI connection here. That will be for our entrance TV. And then, I know I misspoke. I said I was going to, yeah. I'm tripping. So this might not have to be a 1x8 now that I think about it. This might just be another 1x4. So we'll go right there. Depending on the cost, I mean, these might all be 1x8 because it might just be, what's the point of buying a 1x4 if it's $50, if a 1x8 is like 70 to 100, you're getting the different connections for the future. So anyway, that's what we got going on. Now, another thing that we have is I'm actually going to take this and say now we're in the fellowship hall. We're going downstairs. And I really have no idea what the path is to get there. They said there's already a cable there, so hopefully we can just follow that. So inside of here, this is now the fellowship hall. They already have a connection there. So we're going to have an SDI cable going here. And because they already have a sound system in that area, we did this at First Union Baptist Church. They already had a sound system. So what we're going to do is take this, split that audio out of here, and send this to our mixer. All right. So we'll have a audio extractor here. Because I'd rather try and do as much over one cable than having multiple. But you never know. That may change. So we're going to run our HDMI into here. That's going to split our signal out. So audio is going to go into our mixer. That's red. Or no, was that? Yeah, that was regular red. And then the HDMI out from here is going to be the new TV that we hang downstairs. Fellowship Hall TV, which I think is a 65 that we're going to go with. 65 or 70. All right, boom. So there's our audio down in the fellowship hall. We're leveraging the speakers that are already in the ceiling. Hopefully they're good. They didn't say any issues with those. That will give us house sound, as well as if they don't turn the sound system on, the audio is still going to go to the TV. All right, so that will work. Now, fellowship hall. Like I said, this is a big one, folks, of how much we're splitting this out. We're going to take the ATEM Mini Pro that they're using right now and move this downstairs. Why is mine? All right. And the cameras that they already have, the Panasonics, we're going to move those downstairs. And the laptop that they already have, again, no point in throwing that stuff away if it's working for them. We're going to move that downstairs. And this is going to allow them, we're going to connect this here. And they actually have two of these, so I'll just include both of them. Man, we're on 4 pages. Man, this is a big one. I told you this is going to be a big project, which I'm really excited about. Change those to HDMI. Laptop is going to be connected. And this is going to give us, we will connect this to a different monitor that they have down there, maybe a portable monitor, kind of like what I use when I'm looking on this one back here. I don't know if you can see it. I have a monitor right there that's red. That's what I use when I'm looking at that camera for me to see. So something right here. So now they can stream here, and then we'll make this connect to the Fellowship Hall TV as HDMI number 2 or something like that, so they can see it if they really wanted to, like if they're presenting or anything like that. So that's how we're going to repurpose this. And let's actually change this. What color did we use? We use gray for the stuff that's already existing, right? So let's change this to gray, because these are things that already exist that they're using. We're just repurposing it and moving them. So now they'll have the ability to live stream and do everything downstairs, but go to HDMI number 2. And then also we need to run an audio cable to our mixer. So we need to have another, no. Yeah, think here for a second. How we're going to send, we're going to send audio here. And depending on the TV, we should have audio out. So we might not even need this extractor. What we'll probably do is this TV should have audio out. I'll make sure if we get that. So let's actually redo this. So that's going to connect directly to the TV here, right? And we're going to have the TV should have why is my stuff not moving? Oh, well. So the TV should have an audio pass through, like my TV upstairs is able to send the audio to my sound bar. We'll do that here, and that's what's going to send audio to our house. So when we have the ATEM connected over HDMI, audio will go over the HDMI cable to the TV. The TV acts as the extractor that sends audio to the speakers, right? That's one less thing we have to worry about. So yay, that works. All right. So now, what's another setup that we have? Oop, copied the wrong thing. We have another TV the same way. 2 more TVs, actually. So we have the I think it's the trustee room TV. I believe that's what it is. And then we have a conference room. That's where I was sitting at. I'm just assuming it's there. You know what? I'm tripping. Know what we should do? I don't know why I even thought about that. Let's actually redo this. Because again, this is for the areas outside of where we are not able to reach. All right. So what we're going to do, and that's SDI to HDMI. What I think I'm going to do instead, I want to introduce the Thor, because then we don't have to worry about the converters. All these TVs will just be a channel, and that would make that a whole lot easier to do. Now, we got to keep the sanctuary there because it's so close to your live sound. This technically could work in the fellowship hall as well, too. I love it when I'm sitting back thinking through this and I don't have to do all of this. So scratch all of that except for this. This is still right. So that's 1, 2. Stage display, that's right. You know, I did this wrong. I think I have enough jacks to do this. So let's change this. This is the Thor HDMI. All right. So we're going to put this, get out of here. So since this is a stage display, we can just send this directly here. Stage display. And the audience, we still need to come into the ATEM because that, that will give us a feed that we can do as well too. So yeah, that works. That frees that up. So now we have output number 2 is going to the audience. Output number 1 is going to our multi-view. We still have 2 other outputs. So this output, we're going to repurpose this. So this output now is going to a SDI to HDMI, which is now feeding the Thor, which is just going to have regular coax everywhere. We're still going to do the audio out, but instead of having to run a cable like that, we're just going to have a coax distribution throughout the church. So now, outside of the sanctuary TV, all the rest of these can just be a channel that can be turned to. So we just have to make sure that there's a coax there, or we run one, either one. And what color we're going to use with that? Can we do yellow? Let's do a different color. Let's do brown. Can you tell what that is? I'm running out of colors. Can we do orange? How close is that? All right, that's slightly different. Maybe we'll stick with that. Forget it. Let's do this dark green. All right, so that's going to handle there. That's going to handle here. And this will allow us to add unlimited type of connections because we don't have to worry about a converter running to every TV. So we can always add other TVs. We just got to run a regular old coax and put an F connector on it, screw it into the back of the TV. Boom, we're done. That gives us tons of more connections and we don't have to worry about anything else. Now that's output number 2. And then we add one more, which will be a direct connection to the TV in the sanctuary. Because could we go through a Thor with this? We could. SDI out 4. And I got to move that because you can't tell which one that is. So that's 4, 2, and that's 2. 1, 2. I still have another. Yeah, SDI out. See, I messed up. SDI out 3. Yeah, because we have 1 is the multi-view, 2 is the audience, 3 is the entrance TV. Yeah, I messed up. 4 is going to the Thor. It's not labeled here because it's labeled over top of each other. See, that's why I draw the stuff out so I don't forget. And then this is SDI out 4. Let's put this down here. All right. So now this will allow us to do all. You know what? I'm tripping. I don't need to do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I forgot that Thor has a HDMI pass through, but it's delayed. So we don't want to do that. All right. So we got that. Now the Thor will set us up for everywhere else. We can run coax outside the building and run it through. It makes it really easy instead of going through walls and all this other stuff, ceilings and everything like that. We can run it around the building to where we need to. So I think that's good. And then in the last phase, it's almost like the same thing. Because we're going to use the Thor, we just got to run that coax to the big TV that was in the last room that I showed in the video here. That will allow us to do that. Now, there's internet everywhere because they already have everything connected. So I may have to add a switch here and there just to give us more connections, but not a big deal for that. Now, this is going to be real serious. I did not include a joystick on any of this, so let me actually do that. And just to save space, all of this is going to be an IP joystick. and it's going to be a PoE switch. I should have did that. PoE switch. So that will handle power and all this other fun stuff as well. And we don't need a super big switch for that. I'll probably just do a 10 port or something like that. And that's what's going to provide internet to all of our cameras as well as control, and it powers everything. So we don't have to worry about power going to any of the locations like we typically do. And I know this is getting super, super messy. But believe it or not, this is what helps me know that when I'm making a list of the equipment that I need, it helps me with that. And it shows at a high level everything that we're going to do. So worst case scenario, somebody could take this picture and walk through entire setup. Shrink that a little bit so I can see my last camera where I'm connecting to. Right there. We do that as green. And then, of course, we have the X32 is connected, giving that network so it can be controlled. Our computer. And our ATEM. All right. And even inside of this, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We still have 3 more inputs available for our for our ATEM SDI Extreme. We're also going to include a hard drive so that everything can be recorded on here as well too. And again, this is the Extreme SDI is only an ISO. So this is going to allow all of the channels, all of the cameras to be recorded at the same time if they ever wanted to do that. So I am really, really excited about this. This is going to be a humongous project. But I'm really just thankful for the fact that they found me on YouTube, and I'm going to be able to help them out. And the main thing is it's not necessarily equipment. They, just like a bunch of ministries I've noticed, they just haven't had anyone to teach them. So outside of me just installing this stuff, we're going to be doing some significant training to show them how to leverage everything that they're using as well too. So link is going to be down below to every single thing I'm going to use in this install as best as I possibly can. And again, because this is a 2-hour drive away from me, we're going to make sure that I'm sure we're going to be making some stops, going to Lowe's or Home Depot for some supplies when we get there, because we just got to figure it out when we get there. So if you like this type of content, appreciate a like, consider subscribing, hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. And if you ever need some help, please know that you can contact me at ajhomes.com/consultations. We can do a video, phone, or even on-site like I did today to walk through and see the needs of your ministry. And I'm here to help. Whether you decide to go with me or not, I provide the link to everything I'm using so that you can do it yourself if you want to. All right. I don't hide that. I don't, I do that to hopefully help out, because when I started this, no one did this, and that's what I just chose to do. So again, thank you so much for watching, folks. And you may be interested in this video that YouTube thinks that you need to do. So check that out, and we'll be seeing you in the next video. Later.